My name is Yousif Al-Muhafdha. I'm working in Bahrain Centre for Human Rights. We are documenting what's happening in Bahrain on a daily basis, arrest, torture, and we document what's happening in Bahrain. And also we write a lot of reports about women and children and women trafficking and also migrant workers. Anything happen in Bahrain, you'll find it in our website and Bahrain Centre for Human Rights, because we are the largest human rights group in Bahrain, and we have connection with all the villages in Bahrain, and so we publish what's happening on a daily basis. I think the torture is becoming systematic, and all the prisoners are being tortured in the CID building, and some of them are in secret detention. We have right now 2,000 prisoners of conscience in the detention. Right now, all of them, I can say, all of them were tortured in the detention while they kidnapped them from the house. And also, when they're being kidnapped, they will be tortured in a secret detention or sometime in the CID building in Bahrain, and they will be tortured, electric shocks, sexual harassment, and for 5-6 days nobody will know about them. No access to lawyer, no access to call. So that's why we call it just a kidnapped. It's not an arrest. It's not a legal arrest. So this is the situation about the torture becoming the most human rights topic in Bahrain. And also they have banned the reporter of torture, the UN reporter of torture. They have banned him to come to my country. They don't want him to see the marks of the torture in the body of the prisoner of conscience in Bahrain, because they know that he will see a victims of torture in the detention. So they banned him. They just justify. They say that we don't want him to come because we don't want him to interrupt the dialogue that's happening in Bahrain. It's not that he's going to come to the detention. He don't have anything to do with the dialogue that's happening. But they don't want him to come to see the marks of the torture. I mean, if you are protesting against the government, you consider as a criminal in Bahrain. Whenever you are man, woman, children, I mean, so that's why the children in Bahrain are being targeted in Bahrain. We have documented in Bahrain Centre for Human Rights 15 child killed by tear gas or a bird shot from a close range. And also we have documented hundreds of children being tortured in the detention, sexual harassment. Right now in the detention there is 150 children right now in the detention, all of them being tortured, and so many of them being sexual harassment. And also many children being sacked from their schools. So the children in Bahrain are being killed, tortured, sexual harassment, sacked from their school, punished from all sides. I mean, treating injured in Bahrain is a crime. In Bahrain, that if you treat a protester or injured, it's a crime according to the government of Bahrain. So that's why they have targeted all the doctors who treated the doctors. Many of them are in jail right now. They are sentenced to 7 years, and some of them are sacked from their works. They cannot work in other place anymore. They have put their names as a blacklist, so they cannot work anymore in any place. And also the crackdown against the doctors and the nurses and the medics are still ongoing. They have just arrested Halima Sabbagh for treating the injured in her house because she is a volunteer treating the injured in her house, and because the protesters, they cannot go to the hospital to get treatment. They will be arrested and tortured. So they go to her house and to other house. So they arrested her and she was sentenced for 1 year just for treating the injured in her house. So treating the injured becoming a crimes and in my country, Bahrain. if you become a human rights defender in Bahrain, it's a high risk, and you will be arrested, tortured, beaten, kidnapped, and punished. Abdul Hadi Al-Khawaja, for example, he's sentenced for life just for calling for democracy and justice and equality. He gave a speech in the Pearl Roundabout. After that, he was sentenced and tortured very badly in the detention and sentenced to life. Also, Nabil Rajab, the president of Bahrain Centre for Human Rights that I work for, sentenced to 2 years just for his tweets and his work in human rights. Also, they have arrested me 3 times just because of my work and because I document what's happening in Bahrain, and I talk to human rights organization and I'm talking to media. So that's why I get arrested many times, and I have a trial right now. 1st of July, I have a trial about Twitter, a case related to my tweets, which is called, they say that I publish false information. Even last week, Mohammed Al-Masqati, he's a human rights defender in Bahrain, and he has a trial about illegal gathering in Bahrain. So all of and also Zainab Al-Khawaja, she's sentenced to 6 months and recently sentenced to 2 months. So they don't want anyone will speak out like me, Zainab, Muhammad, all of us, we will be sentenced, interrogated and tortured. And also we have recently the case of Naji Fatil, where he's a human rights defender working with the BYCHR, and he was kidnapped from his house and tortured in the CID buildings, sexual harassment, electric shocks, and he was giving 60 days under the terrorist law. This is the situation in Bahrain. Any human rights defender will speak out about the human rights situation, he will be sentenced, interrogated, or tortured. They don't want any human rights defender to speak about. They just allow to the gongos, the government or NGOs. They just allow the gongos to work. Any real human rights organization, no, you will be sentenced and tortured and arrested. One time I met, I attended a seminar about human rights in Bahrain, and it was a testimony of victim of torture, and they give their experience and their testimony about the torture in Bahrain. I was, I felt like I'm listening to someone released from Guantanamo or from Bughraib in Iraq. I did not imagine that it's happening in my country. So I felt like I need to help my people. I want to help my people who are suffering, because I did not know that this is happening in my country. So I contacted Nabil Rajab, the president of BCHR, by email, and we met, and I became a member and leading in BCHR. I believe that a pressure from the international community, from the EU, from the US and UK, they push the government of Bahrain to respect the human rights. Yes, it could change the situation in Bahrain. Otherwise, no, nothing will change.
Help protect human rights defenders on the front line. Contribute at www.frontlinedefenders.org/donate. Thank you.